Hi guys, it's Ryan here with Sigma Survival, and today I'm going to be talking about what to do if you get stranded in a snowstorm. Okay guys, so I'm out and about. It is snowing here in the UK. It's not as cold as somewhere like Canada, let's say, but it's still cold enough that you can get hypothermia. So we're going to be looking at what I've got in my everyday carry kit, and we're going to be looking at how to survive with that. It's just a quick get home survival kit, and I've got the clothes that I'm wearing. It is relevant clothing for the climate here. You know, gloves, hat, scarf, outer jacket, inner layers, but it's still cold. Stay tuned, it's going to be a good one. Okay guys, so I'm caught out. It's getting dark. Well, as you can see, it is dark now. It was getting dark about an hour ago. I've lost my bearings a little bit. I just need to hunker down. I need to get through the night. I'm going to use my EDC kit, which has some basic items geared towards this climate, and we're going to find a shelter in the wooded area over there. We're going to utilise this weather to our advantage, i.e. the snow, some fresh drinking water from that, and essentially we're going to stay warm, and I'm going to show you how to stay alive. Okay guys, so an important factor is where the wind's coming from, because that's blowing cold air that's going to zap energy. Look down here, you can see this large tree is given a natural windbreak, and you can actually see where the snow hasn't formed because there's that natural windbreak, so it's going to be drier and there's going to be less wind chill if I was to position myself in an area like this. But we're going to go deeper into the woods because we want to get as warm as possible and really out of that wind. Let's go. Okay guys, so this is, let's say we're in a national park, or let's say that, you know, there's a bit of an open space where the trees have broken open. People might be looking for us, and by the morning we could be quite hypothermic, and if people are looking for us, let's hope they are. You should always let people know where you're going, especially in the middle of winter. You never know when snowstorms might come in. Having something that's orange that breaks away from the conventional natural patterns and colours is great, because I can lay this down, pin it to the ground with something, you know, even if it's a pocket knife, whatever it is, you know, that orange thing will be seen from above. It could also be seen if I just hang it up here, okay? Maybe I'll tie that in with some paracord as well, just to really make sure that people can see that, okay, there's someone around about here. My loved ones and my friends, they know when I'm going out and about that I carry these types of items. They know that this rain cover belongs to me, at least the closest people to me do. They'll know that I'm in this area somewhere. So that is a signal in itself for help, rescue, okay? So this is a way that you can signal for help. I basically just loop my finger through the lanyard, and this is a head torch type thing, and I'm just gonna spin it like that. People will see that for miles, okay? If there's a car in the distance, I'm gonna do that. Also, this light here has a strobe setting. Okay, that's great, and there's also a whistle on it. So I've got a few different means of signalling and a light source. Perfect survival item. We'll get into this on another video when it's not so dark and cold. So I'm in the woods now, and there's a massive difference. The wind is just not destroying me now. A minute ago I was in open terrain, it was just hitting me and it was just treacherous. Now the snow is actually dropping directly down, and the wind has really calmed down a lot, but we're still going to look at where the wind is coming in from, and we're going to hide behind a big tree. And we're not going to be getting a lot of sleep tonight, but we're going to be just showing exactly how you can survive just to stay alive, because in this environment going to sleep could actually be dangerous, because hypothermia can just take you off like you would not believe. So let's show you how to keep warm. Being as I'm here in a national park, there's like a small sort of trail here where maybe kids or animals frequent. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a bushy area here which I can get into, and I can utilise that natural thick shelter and that habitat to try and really get out of the weather, the wind, and it's going to be a bit warmer, so let's get to it. Okay guys, so this bushy area here, there's just so much less rain coming through, and there's hardly any wind coming through now. That doesn't mean to say that I'm safe, okay? I really need to conserve body heat, and I need to generate heat to survive now. So this is why it's important to be prepared. This is why my everyday carry kit in the middle of winter, I have shelter options and I have combustion options, okay? So let's get into what's in there. Okay, so being as I've been out hiking, this is the scenario. I've got a blanket, okay? Now, if you don't have a blanket, you can utilise something else. It's a wool blanket, or it's mostly wool. Wool is great because wool retains body heat even when it's wet, okay? I'm just gonna drape this over me for a second, just because I want to conserve as much body heat as possible, okay? Now in the survival kit itself, or the EDC kit, I have multiple items, guys, okay? But the important ones here will be the candles, just normal tea lights. I'm gonna put that there, keep it dry under that piece of orange tar. There's also matches and a lighter. Now, I know that some people will be saying, oh, well, this isn't survival. It is survival, guys, because you have to be prepared for circumstances like these. Also in this kit, there's a foil blanket. There's also just a normal bin bag, or a trash bag for the Americans out there. So the candle is obviously an important factor here. Now, in this environment, it would be very hard to get a fire going, I'm not gonna lie, even for someone that's skilled within survival skills, because it's wet and there's been no preparation before the snowstorm come in. However, that doesn't mean to say that there isn't options for fire, and I do have a video coming up on that you should definitely check out. Okay guys, so I'm going to be utilising a foil blanket, okay, and with this blanket, that should keep me alive. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this blanket just quickly, keeping that as dry as possible. I'm just going to remove my outer jacket just for a moment, okay, and we've got to act fast, guys, because the heat is just being zapped away constantly, okay. And as you probably noticed, I'm keeping the stuff as dry as possible, okay? Now I'm going to take the foil blanket, and I'm just going to open it up carefully, because when these things rip, they really do rip. Okay guys, I'm just going to wrap this around my torso, kind of around my legs, a bit like a skirt, and then the other things are going to keep my shoulders warm. Scarf goes back on. I'm going to keep that handy here so it can go around my head. Coat goes back on. I'm just going to dress the foil blanket so that it's giving me as much insulation as possible. Okay, now I'm just going to take this bin bag. I'm just going to open it up. Okay guys, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to remove anything out the bag that I need, like the water bottle. I'm just going to use the bag as a cushion to try and insulate me from the floor more, because I'm going to have to sit down in a minute. What we're going to do now is take the blanket, which is essential to our survival. I'm going to take the lighter, which is also essential, the candle, and I'm going to do an old school trick to stay warm. Okay guys, so I'm going to take the blanket, I'm going to drape it over myself as much as possible. I'm going to light this candle here very carefully. Lovely jubbly guys, right, I'm going to cover this over and I'm going to get a lot warmer. I'm going to be very careful not to set fire to myself with a blanket, but this is going to keep me nice and toasted. I'm just going to get myself under the blanket as much as possible. And I'll tell you what guys, this is getting a lot warmer already. And one thing I'm doing while I'm underneath guys is I'm just placing my hands closer to get the blood in the hands warmer. So this is an important survival lesson. The hands, the face and the soles of the feet, the palms of the hands I should say, the soles of the feet and the face, they contain blood vessels that are very unique, and basically these are very close to the skin. They're called AVAs. And essentially, if you can warm or cool these areas in a hot or cold climate, you can definitely improve your survivability. So keeping the palms of the hands warm and the face, that's the first thing I want to warm, because once my blood gets warm, my whole body's going to start warming up. My brain's going to stop freaking out and the hypothermia is going to reduce, okay? The foil blanket is also keeping my core a lot warmer. The bin bag in itself and the bag is insulating me from the floor. So yeah, we're in for a long night, and this wouldn't be a comfortable situation. If it was really cold, I could light one of the other candles, but there's 4 candles in the pack, guys. And the reason for that is that these candles burn for 1 to 2 hours, roughly. So that gives me, from the coldest parts of the night through to around about dawn, you know, it keeps me warm for those coldest hours in the night, and then I can get up and start moving again if need be. So yeah, don't mind if I do. I've just come out of the shelter. Dawn is coming soon. I know which direction I've got to head in. I've conserved a lot of heat, considering I should be dead, but without that EDC kit I would be. So the one thing I need to get moving is water. Now, people oftentimes forget about keeping their fluid and hydration levels up. This does help your body to regulate your temperature, so really bear that in mind. I don't have any fresh water sources around, so what I'm going to utilise is the snow. I'm just going to take my empty water bottle. This is why a wide brim water bottle in the winter time is great, because it's great for packing snow into. And I'm just going to take it off the branches here. Okay guys, so I'm just going to pack that snow into there. Now this can take a while, but generally speaking, you could just do this as you're walking out of the woods. Handful of snow in there, handful of snow in there. But bear in mind that if your gloves get wet, your hands get wet, so it might be that you use a twig instead. But this isn't a real life and death situation, it's just a scenario and it's just a training exercise. So that we're just doing it a bit quicker. Let's say I've got this full now. I'm just going to place it in between an inner layer and my outer shell jacket. Make sure that it's screwed on tight. That will eventually just melt itself down. Don't ever put snow or ice in your mouth. That'll make you hypothermic and it can potentially blister your mouth. You really don't want that, especially in the long run. This will just melt that down to a comfortable body temperature. Take it in, do it again until you get to a water source that you can reliably trust. A question that some people might ask is, well, is there any way of starting a fire whatsoever? And yes, there is a way that I could potentially start a fire. You know, I could peel inner layers of bark, or I could take dead trees, peel the bark away, but I'm going to get hypothermic pretty quick. There's a risk reward ratio. Me standing out here peeling bark, you know, could that work? Potentially, but you know, the setup with the blanket and the tea light keeps me just warm enough to survive. We're prioritising insulation and just keeping body temperature at sort of homeostasis, at normal levels or just below, because obviously it's cold. We want to get it to normal levels or hotter if we can. Having a fire, which is a direct heat source, it's not always realistic in this environment. You know, insulation is going to come first. So if it calms down a bit and then, you know, I can actively get a fire going and maintain it, absolutely, that is a priority. But in this instance, this weather conditions just won't permit it, so insulation is the first port of call. So another thing, guys, you know, if you find a densely built up area and the snowstorm's just coming in, it's not well established like it is now, you might be able to quickly salvage some drier material and really get that ready to go. Another thing as well, guys, is you should be keeping some kind of tinder bundle or fire lighting source ready to go. I do keep that in this EDC kit. I keep a ball of twine, great for cordage, also great to break up into a fire lighting material. Then if you've got, you know, dry enough wood, or you peel the bark away and you've got inner dry bits, you can just basically, you know, process that down and get a fire going. But yeah, generally speaking, guys, insulation first, fire second in this instance. There's a saying in the survival community about it's called wet fire. So wet fire is a tool that you can utilize. It's basically a fuel source. A lot of people's go-to wet fire is Vaseline soaked cotton balls, or a tub of Vaseline that you could soak, you could cover twigs in. You might be able to get a fire lit if you just cover some partially dried twigs in Vaseline. Now, if I'm moving through this environment and I know I've got to set up camp, I'm going to be picking twigs off of trees, dead twigs that aren't too wet, and I'm going to be placing them under my jacket to dry out a little bit. That's just another tip as well. But yeah, Vaseline could be a lifesaver. You can also carry kerosene blocks or any kind of combustion source, any kind of fuel source. For some people that's a gas stove. A gas stove could get a main fire going, but just be careful because it is a compressed gas bottle. So that's it really. Just bear in mind that if you get caught out in a snowstorm, that having the basic tools and the preparation ready to insulate your own body heat, keep you alive just enough, to get yourself out. Preferably you'd have more kit, like a warm sleeping bag and a shelter system, but we can't always have these things on us. If you like this, then please do like the video. Please do drop me a comment, let me know what you think. And yeah, if you like the content, guys, then we've got a whole host of other videos. Please do subscribe and hit that bell so that you get notifications for when the next videos are coming. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time.